Hallå och välkomna tillbaka till Senjou no Maou, The Devil on the G-string. Och i förra avsnittet så blev väl kidnappningar skedde. Jag vet inte exakt, jag minns inte namnen. Det var i alla fall en vecka sedan jag körde sist upp. Jag har haft lite annat för mig, så det var ett tag sedan. Oj, det var nästan 2 veckor. 12 dagar sedan. Det var inte bra. Ja. Men. Jag har haft väldigt många avsnitt på lager här. Skitsamma. The three of us get off the platform at the Eastern District Station. Tsubaki heter hon. Så heter hon. Tsubaki's house should be nearby. I need to keep my guard up in case things get violent. In the midst of my thoughts, Eiichi yells loudly. Hey, cut it out. He then rings the doorbell. For a moment, there was silence. Hon svarade telefon. Ville vi prata med henne i telefon, men jag vet inte om hon var hemma. De kanske sa att det var hennes hemtelefon eller någonting, det vet jag inte. Yeah. Do you think she just left? Ja, eller så kanske ni ska vänta längre än 1 sekund. Jag gillar den idén då, liksom åka hem till någon, ringa på ringklockan. Va? Är du inte hemma? Det är ingen hemma. Gå direkt. Okej. Okay. Usami pointed at the window. I see. Whatever happened was so bad that they have to close the curtains in the middle of the day. Just as I was admiring Usami's observational skills, the door suddenly opened. Ja, exakt. Ni kanske skulle vänta lite. Det är så det funkar. Guys. Her face was as white as a ghost. Ändå förvånande att hon öppnade dörren, men... Can we come in? Well, we weren't exactly invited. Come to think of it, it really is rare for Eiichi to ask for any food besides sweet. Is their stew really that good? When we entered the living room, her father appeared. I've seen you somewhere. Why is the breadwinner of the family not working at this time of day? Why am I judging him? Because he's self-employed? But even then, something is strange. Tsubaki, her father, and her siblings all sit in the family room. But her mother is not here. Did something happen to your mother? I looked at Usami. What sharp eyes. She's searching the immediate vicinity. Her father's words sound very forced. He pulls out a chair near the phone and sits there with a heavy look. A gaggle of formerly rowdy kids also sits there silently. One seems to be sleeping, one playing with toy blocks absent-mindedly, and another one clinging to Tsubaki's leg. The whole room seems dead. Nani? Jag ska bara kolla en grej här. Ja, men precis. Det blir perfekt. Only Eiichi, who seems to be ignoring the somber atmosphere, manages to blurt something out. As if following Eiichi's lead, Usami nods her head. Did something happen to Hiroaki? As I was about to say that out loud, Usami quietly said,
ひろあきくんだけが保育園。
Indeed, all the other kids are still home.
椿、帰ってもらいなさい。お友達には関係ないことだよ。
わかってるよ。でもお父さん、どうしてさっきから電話の前を離れないんですか？
Varför ifrågasätter jag det?
お母さんはどうして寝込んでしまったんですか？どうして子供たちは暗い顔をしているんですか？どうして事情を話
Kanske för att
し
ni
てくれないん
är
ですか？
främlingar. Ni har liksom varit här en gång, känner inte er.
椿。
Haru-chan Tsubaki. Ja, det är mitt namn. That one in a million possibility passed through my
誘
mind.
拐されたんだろう。お父さん、あなたは犯人からの電話を待っているんですよね。お母さんはショックで寝込んでいるんです。あなた方は警察にもまだ連絡していないし、犯人に連絡するなと言われているんでしょ？どうしていいか途方に暮れているんですね。
I sådana situationer ska man alltid ringa polisen. Tsubaki looks like she's about to cry.
昨日のことなの。
Jag tror liksom också att alltså i sådana situationer ska man alltid ringa polisen. Det är väl också det de flesta gör. Och det räknas väl nästan. Det är väl liksom jag tror kidnapparna räknar med att man oftast ringer polisen. Jag tror mer att man säger så för att de ska vinna lite tid typ. Brukar väl kanske vara. Jag vet inte. Jag har aldrig kidnappat någon och har väl inte direkt några planer på det heller, men man vet aldrig. Det kan kanske i framtiden.
Oj,
faktiskt.
椿。
私がもっと早く保育園に迎えに行ってあげていれば。
Du går väl i skolan, inte kindergarten, men okej. Last night would be after she had coffee with me.
私が保育園に行ったらもうひろあきは帰ったって言われて。
Det värsta är att nu visar det sig att det är vårt fel också. Eftersom vi är jävla asshole i det här spelet så kan jag inte direkt säga någonting annat.
お前のせいじゃない。
Nej, det är Maou.
ひろあきは保育園から一人で帰ることあるの。前にも私の迎えが遅れて一人で帰ったことあるの。
I'm also partly to blame for Tsubaki getting there late. Ja, du är nog to blame för hela allting, va? But I never would have guessed he could be kidnapped. It's far too unreal. Is this what they call the moment when everything goes wrong?
それで
In this crowded room, only Usami remains calm.
ひろあきくんが誘拐されたと確信に至ったのはなぜだ？ずっと探してたんだけど、ひろあき夜になっても帰ってこなかったの。そしたら相手は息子を預かっているとでも言ったのか？
No, not at all. He said, I've taken your brother. I don't have a son. Yes, I happen to be the one who answered the phone.
ひ
Now
ろ
I
あ
have a
きくんの
son.
声を聞いたか？いや、聞いてないけど。
じゃあ誘拐されてないかもしれなかったり。
しかし現実、ひろあきくんは帰ってきていない。誘拐犯を名乗る人物から電話があった。まず誘拐されたと見て間違いはない。気になるのはひろあきくんの安否ですね。
Jaha, jag fattar inte att det var det du brydde dig om. Tsubaki is surely more concerned about that than Usami.
お父さん、次に電話があったら真っ先に確認してください。
I get the feeling that at some point the atmosphere of the room started to revolve around Usami. Nej, vi är
犯
fortfarande
人の要
på
求は？
hennes route. Jag vet inte om vi är det, men jag tror vi är på the common route. What are the culprits'
それは
demands?
身代金は5000万だって。それだけで。
Okej, intressant. Ja... Okej, så han vill ha pengar. Jag undrar om de vill ha pengar för att indirekt säga att ni kommer ha råd om ni säljer. För skulle de säga direkt liksom att ni får tillbaka honom om ni säljer ert hus, då skulle de veta direkt vilka det är. Typ. Det skulle vara lite lättare att veta vilka det är då. Nu skulle de bara kunna... Det är 2 helt olika grejer liksom. Jag vet inte.
そうか。なら、少なくともあと一度は犯人はこの家に接触してくるな。
I know what Usama is getting at. He has to somehow get that 50 million. Basically, the criminal has not yet spoken about how the ransom will be handed over. Still, kidnapping. This is a genuine crime. Even I, one who is always working in the grey area of commerce, was shocked. Also, I need to ensure that a certain thing doesn't happen. Vadå?
っていうか警察は
Exactly. The police.
まだ
警察には連絡するなと。
連絡したらヒロアキを
Jag förstår det, men man ska ändå alltid ringa polisen. Well, that's standard procedure for a kidnapper.
警察に連絡しようかと。
ダメだよお父さん。警察に連絡したことが犯人に知れたらヒロアキが
Alltså det sjuka är att han står ju i samma rum, kidnapparen. Antar jag. I guess.
しかし、こういうのは警察に任せるしかないじゃないか。
Usami silently watched the exchange between father and daughter. Trying not to raise any suspicions on myself, I spoke calmly. Vänta, va? Trying not to raise any suspicions on myself? Va? När han säger det på det sättet så låter det väldigt skumt. Det är ju inte direkt så att han... Så jag tror att han är Maou liksom undermedvetet. Att han inte riktigt fattar det själv. Men nu får han då låta som att det var jag. Jag måste dölja det. Men please think twice about calling the police.
どうしてだい？彼らは専門家だよ。犯罪対策のプロだ。僕らはただの一般人だ。
Blev riled up
警察に
här.
任すべきじゃないか。
Jesus. Chilla lite. Tsubaki's father is clearly becoming upset. Ja, det skulle jag förstå honom. To use such mannerisms in front of his daughter's friend. He really has lost control of his emotion. Men det här är ganska ovanlig situation också. Jag tror inte det händer så ofta. Please calm down, sir. You are correct. In fact, you can say it's a citizen's duty to call the police in the event of a crime. But, how can I put this? I need to convince him. Calling the police would be very problematic. Because if the police come, they'll investigate all of Tsubaki's family problem. The kidnapper's motives, and why he chose Tsubaki's family, would likely come to light. The fact that his family is being pushed into selling their property would doubtlessly come up during the process of investigation. And then, an investigation into Sano Corporation's land development department would doubtlessly lead to information about the Asahi Corporation's involvement. If the public found out there's a relationship between a legitimate company like Sano and a shady one like Asahi, all joint projects between our organizations would cease immediately. It's impossible to stay afloat in this city if the Sano Corporation won't have anything to do with you. And naturally, my own position in the company will be put in a precarious state as well. Therefore, I must prevent any police intervention at all cost. Is there any guarantee that relying on the police will bring Hiroaki back?
それは。いや、きっと警察なら何とかしてくれるさ。
I slowly shake my head. Remember that I told you a little about my father.
確か金融や不動産も扱っている社長さんだとか。
I believe he was a policeman before that.
本当かね。
I think Gonzo really was a police officer. He worked in a department that dealt with organized crime. I hear that it's not unusual for a policeman in charge of organized crime countermeasures to retire into the Yakuza. But then again, I haven't heard this directly from Gonzo himself. Now then, Borrowing my father's authority was a good move, but how do I change over to the main topic? It's about time to cut to the chase. I heard from my father once that kidnapping cases, when reported to the police, well, they tend to produce casualties. Alltså? Jag vet inte om man säger så där bara för att lura. Jaha. Det var inte någonting han tänkte i huvudet. Av någon anledning fick jag för mig att han tänkte det där för sig själv. Det gör han inte, okej. Jag tror han ljuger. I'm not lying about this. Obviously my last statement painted an image in their minds of Hiroaki in some sort of danger. However, in a kidnapping case, the kidnapped person and the threatened family are all casualties. One cannot measure the psychological pain and suffering family members go through. For this reason, whether the police become involved or not, kidnappings are bound to have casualties. Men va? När han säger det sådär så får han då låta som att vi kan offra ett barn. Kan offra ett av våra barn? Nej, då kommer i alla fall fånga dem. Det får låta som det är lite... Are you okay with just arresting the criminal? Isn't the highest priority to bring Hiroaki-kun back home? Tsubaki's father held his head.
しかし浅井さん
What?
警察に連絡しなければヒロアキ君が帰ってくるという保証もありませんよ。
Damn.
警察の介入にやたらこだわっていらっしゃるようですが。
Well, Papa is a former police officer, so it looks like I said a bit too much.
そうっすか。
Usami stares at me with her unblinking eyes.
誘拐事件における警察の犯人検挙率は 95% だそうです。残りの 5% も特に身代金を奪われたというわけではありません。つまりこの国で警察を相手にして身代金奪取に成功した犯人はいないということです。
No. Son of a bitch. Where did you get all these statistics? What are you trying to say?
警察を頼れば少なくとも身代金はほぼ確実と言える可能性で返ってくるということです。
Like high-tech kidnappers. 50 million. While mumbling to myself, I had a flash of inspiration. Quite a devilish conception. However, with this, I'll be able to steal the Miva household. Kommer han erbjuda sig betala nu? No, it's nothing. Be calm, stay calm. Alltså, kommer han typ erbjuda sig betala, sen så kommer han lämna tillbaka honom själv. Behålla pengarna själv uppenbarligen, sen bara låtsas som att, ja men... Eller något så här liksom, ni kan få pengarna med om ni säljer någonting. Jag vet inte. I pretended to have a dizzy spell and shook my head. By the way, Usami.
Hi.
Usami's eyes never left me during all this time. I want to know more details about kidnapping cases.
Hi.
You just said that at the very least we can guarantee the ransom won't be taken, right?
Hi.
In other words, although the money was safe, something else was not. Can I interpret it that way?
鋭いですね。
At that moment, Usami's expression clearly changed. When Eiichi and I stole school keys, she seemed somehow different from usual when questioning us. But still, that was nothing compared to this. In fact, the aura she was emitting could easily be described as murderous intent.
浅井さんのおっしゃる通り、犠牲者は出ています。戦後から現在まで通算で約180件の身代金誘拐事件が起こっています。
Post-war period in Japan, så alltså efter andra världskriget eller? Jag vet inte om det är det hon menar. Kanske.
そのうち被害者の数は30人以上です。
Over 30. 180. Okej, så vad blir det då? 180 delat på 30. Det är ändå jämnt delbart. Det är 6 delar. Ja, det är 6 delar, men jag vet inte, typ 16%. 16-17% någonstans där. That's roughly a 20% mortality rate. Ja, väldigt stor överslagräkning. Jag hade mycket bättre räkning där. Jag hade mycket bättre räkning. Jag ska till och med kolla exakt hur många procent det är bara för att jävlas med honom. Visa att jag har mycket bättre koll på min räkning. Ja, 16,66666666666% liksom. That's roughly a 20% mortality rate.
やだよ。お父さん、絶対ダメだよ。
Right. Even though it's only 20%. This is your little brother we're talking about. Actually, it's only 16%. Oh, that's okay then. No, you can do it. I can't get that spark of inspiration from earlier out of my mind. I did feel a bit of resistance to the idea. But I would love for the kidnapper to get his 50 million. 50 million isn't a small figure. I don't believe the family has that much in savings. In which case, they have no choice but to get a loan from a bank. When that happens, I'm sure they'll have to put up this land as collateral. And if the kidnapper steals that 50 million, they won't get it back. Then, Tsubaki and her family will have no choice but to leave their house. This presents yet another reason police involvement would trouble me. Men alltså, misstänker han på något sätt att det är de som är... Att det är hans grupp som är liksom involverad? Han borde ju fatta att det är... Antingen att det är någon från hans grupp som har gjort det själv. Jag tror inte han tror att han själv har gjort det, men han borde ju fatta att någon av dem är inblandade. Det känns ju som en väldig slump liksom. Fattar han inte det själv eller? This presents yet another reason police involvement would trouble me. Still, in the end, I can't help but feel resistant to the whole thing. Because this would mean I'm condoning a genuine crime.
日本で警察に知られることのなかった誘拐事件というものが発生していないとは限りません。海外では身代金誘拐を専門にした犯罪者集団がいるそうです。彼らはプロで、被害者の家族が警察に連絡せずに身代金さえ都合つければほぼ確実に人質を解放するそうです。相手の出方を伺ってからもう一度検討してみるというのはどうでしょう。
Usami is 100% calm right now. She's calm, but it looks as if something in the core of her heart is blazing fiercely. Tsubaki, you also oppose calling the police, right?
だって警察には連絡するなって言われたもの。
Tsubaki seems to believe even the words of a wild kidnapper. This is a good example of how sincerity can sometimes be no more than foolishness.
とにかく君たちは帰りなさい。何にせよこれは家族の問題なんだよ。
I cannot allow that. My wicked heart is yearning me on, telling me not to squander this opportunity. Sir, please let me help.
浅井君。
I'm also partly to blame for Tsubaki's tardiness in picking up Hiroaki yesterday.
それは違うよ。浅井君は関係ないよ。
Don't bother, Tsubaki. You turned out this way because I asked you to treat me to a cup of coffee. Coffee. I lowered my eyes. That aside, sir, how do you plan on assembling the ransom?
身代金
Whether you rely on the police or not, I still think there's a need to prepare the 50 million.
そんな大金うちには。
I'll try asking my father. If I explain the circumstances, I think he'll loan you the money at a low interest rate. Of course, I'll make sure you use this land as collateral.
それは。
He seemed to be at a loss for words. Maybe it's because he has nowhere else to turn. He can only sigh in dejection. Tsubaki, would you also be willing to let me handle this? When I say I feel partly to blame for the kidnapping, I'm not lying. So from among the lenders under the Sova Alliance umbrella, I plan to choose one that's relatively decent.
浅井君。
Tears well up in Tsubaki's eyes. Vänta, vad sa hon? Thank you. Ja, det här är ju... Ganska hemskt. Her father sits, speechless. Ja, till och med för mig. Jag har sett grejer. Afterward, the three of us left. For now, we'll wait for the kidnapper to call again. Usami and I parted at the Eastern District Park. On the way back, Usami didn't say a single word. She seemed to be thinking that whole time. Come to think of it, weren't you pretty quiet that whole time? Vad ska man säga? Actually, I think you're just about the most oblivious guy I know. Anyway, keep your mouth shut about this. Suddenly, Ichi stopped in his tracks. What's this all of a sudden? Ja, eller en karaktär i en visuell novell. It came as a shock to me too. It's just, don't you usually treat younger women like bitches? What can I say, bro? I like pets. I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean, but it seems that even Aichi is worried about Tsubaki. Well, I'm going home now, bro. Yeah, you do that. Or maybe I should buy Tsubaki some pudding, aye? He leaves mumbling to himself. Alright, I still have things to take care of. No rest for the wicked. But before that, I need to pay Gonzo a visit. I need him to give me the name of a good loaner. I have 80 trained to the Southern District. Still, even someone like H is a good person at heart. What about me? What about you? After arriving at Gonzo's house, I explained the circumstances. So in summary, if Miwa Tsubaki's household uses its land as collateral for the loan, everything will be dealt with tidily. Det är som att han liksom instinktivt visste att det här skulle hända. Det är ganska... Det är lågt, bror. Therefore, could you introduce me to someone who could prepare 50 million right away? Gonzo didn't agree to anything. He just held his dignified posture. What do you think, father? Father? His heavy mouth remained shut. Nu ska vi se. Sorry. Feeling a little scared, I gulped. Fan, jag blir upptagen här.
Yukai. Banzai da na.
Yes.
警察に届けてもいいんだぞ。
His words were hiding something, and his voice held a coercive tone.
通報すれば県警本部から捜査一課は特殊犯捜査係の刑事がやってくる。連中は誘拐対策のプロだ。誘拐ほど失敗の許されない事件捜査はないと叩き込まれている。すぐさま捜査本部が敷かれ300人体制で捜査に臨むだろう。逆探知や音声解析などの技術的な進歩も目覚ましいし、何よりここの県警は警視庁との連携もうまくいっている。まず間違いなく犯人は上がる。身代金も奪われることはないだろう。
He's saying this calmly, as if he's directly seeing the inner workings of police. Indeed, that is why I want to absolutely prevent any police intervention.
Oh.
As long as the kidnapper takes the money, they'd have to move away. When I said that, my mood turned sour.
いいんだな。
What do you mean?
犯罪を容認するというのだな。
It's as if he saw right through the hesitation in my heart. Well...
誘拐は最も卑劣な犯罪だ。何の罪もない市民を人質に取り、理不尽な要求を突きつける。人質が5歳の幼児ともなればなおさらだ。
Berättade han att han var 5 år? Jag antar att han gjorde det kanske. What's he getting at?
いいんだな、京介。
A chill went through my spine. I understand. Gonzo's testing me. He's questioning my conscience, testing my capacity as his livestock. That thought cleared my mind. To be honest, I'm a bit hesitant. At that moment, a heavy gust of wind suddenly blew past me. Sparks flew before my eyes. Good! My vision suddenly went white. An acidic taste filled the inside of my mouth. I couldn't move. It was like the strength to maintain my body was leaking out through all my pores. A sharp pain ran through my heart. Döver nu, the bad end. Did he pull me up by my hair?
くだらん生き物だな、貴様。
Oi. His cold eyes were bottomless.
善にも悪にもなりきれんのか。
I was terrified. My whole body froze. Even the blood in my veins iced over. Confusion, agitation, any negative emotion you can name. I'm feeling that right now.
その三輪椿という女を助けたことがあるな。
I don't know what he's talking about. The only thing I could comprehend was his menace.
スカウト会社にうちの名前を出した。そう。
Now that you mention it, just det gjorde han ju. Bearing such intense pressure, I slowly pieced together the events that happened that day. I'm pretty sure there was a time when Tsubaki got tricked by a scout on Central Boulevard. Ja, det kommer jag ihåg. I used the Asai Corporation's name and instructed him not to lay a finger on Tsubaki.
なぜあの時は助けた。
He violently shakes my head.
なぜ今さら両親に揺れる。
He finally releases me.
いいか京介、俺についてきた時点で貴様に待っているのは地獄だけだ。
Yes.
金がいるんだ。
Yes.
お前の親の借金を。
Yes.
いくら。
200 million. My father's Samejima Toshikatsu's debt. It was only 50 million at the time, but it had a hell of an interest rate attached and swelled up like a snowball.
ならとっとと稼げ。たかが2億だ。
Jesus. That's right. I followed Gonzo in order to pay back my father's debt. Everyone who knows about that says, "What an amazing child to do such a thing for his father." But it's no such beautiful story. Paying back money to the Yakuza requires severe life or death tactics and bargaining. 200 million yen. This isn't some amount you can casually deposit into a bank. And the longer I wait, the more interest it will accumulate. I understand. The sense of terror rapidly lessened. The need for the money has gotten to the point where I've had to consensually sell my soul. This accursed attachment to money pushes me on. There's still only 50 million yen in my safe. I will not fail. Satisfied with my answer, Gonzo deeply nods.
人間の顔になる。
I finally have the resolve. No longer will I think about Tsubaki. I can only walk my own path. Of course, I know that my path leads to hell. Bad end. Perhaps it's because of all the excitement, but my head started to hurt. Ja, jag kommer få tillbaka någon så här Maou-scen nu. Vi tar och avslutar här. Jag får tacka så mycket för att ni har tittat. Det är ganska spännande så jag ska fortsätta lite till här. Men det här avsnittet är slut. Så att ni får ha det bra. Så hörs vi nästa gång. Tack så mycket för att ni har kollat. Vi hörs. Tack och hej.